We guys are live here for Heavy Muscle Radio. We're here on, well, at least in New York, it is Sunday night. In Australia, where Lee Priest, my little compatriot in crime, is, it is actually Monday, the right time. But the Legion Sports Fest, Lee, has not let out yet. And Chris Aceto is on call. He's over there sitting in the audience. John Romano. Oh, here's John. John joined us. Okay.
I am here.
You know, it's hard for us old guys to stay up this late anymore, especially when we have kids.
Well, actually, Lee and I were going to do our own show.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
But you cockblocked.
I cockblocked you guys. This is more important.
So if John and I normally do our political show right now. So if during this we get a bit political, all right, just don't blame us.
You know, Chris. Once again, the show hasn't let out yet. Chris Aceto is there, but Lee Priest on the last show. Let me pull this up. Lee said that had made the statement that David Henry, Shaun Clarida was not a real giant killer because he has not slain any giants. Well, tonight he's going to be slaying a lot of giants, and I don't know if he's going to slay them all, but there's a very good chance that Shaun Clarida might be the champ there in the Legion Sports Fest.
Well, from what I've seen, now this is going off the pictures, and people always say a big, great, taller guy will always beat a good little shorter guy, but going from the pictures, Shaun has the conditioning, he has the symmetry, and he has the mass for his height and stuff. Yes, Regan and Sergio have the mass, and their symmetry is good, but if we're going on the whole criteria, Shaun has it all. So technically, yes, a bigger guy in condition generally beats the shorter guy who's in condition, but right now, those other two aren't in the condition Shaun's in, so if we're going to be complete here, Shaun has the whole package, so Shaun should win.
Well, Regan Grimes, I would say is probably as conditioned as Shaun. I think his legs. I don't think his legs are as good as his upper body, and I think so. He's got a little disparity there. Obviously, Sergio seems to be the biggest, even though Regan's a little taller than him. John, what do you think? Looking at this video from prejudging.
I'm going to have to agree with Lee. I mean, it's really hard to tell, from the videos, but I think I like Shaun. You can he pops, and that, I think that's even more telling, because if someone's popping on video, imagine in real life. So I'm going to have to give it to the strength of what's coming through, and that's
I'm such a Sergio Oliva fan, just of him, the person, and then also of him, the physique, and that it's hard for me to pick anyone else, because all three of them are pretty close to the show here. Yeah. I love Shaun Clarida's story, how he was a bantamweight and he moved his way up, and the guy is always as hard as freaking nails on stage, and there's never anyone harder than him. So I love that story, and Regan has really come up a lot too. So I mean, I really wouldn't be upset if either one of them were.
Listen, Nancy Drew, fuck your story, okay? We'll go by how the body looks. Fuck your little fucking.
I think that I happen to like Sergio's physique.
I like Sergio too. Look, I buy his bloody t-shirts and wear them. I like Sergio too. But if I'm going to be honest, I'd love to see Sergio win, but Clarida's making them look smooth, even if they are a bit harder. Clarida, because it's conditioned. When the three of them are there, yes, they're bigger, but your eyes are going to Clarida the whole time. And if your eyes are being drawn to someone like that, he's making the impact. And like I said, yes, Sergio in his best shape would beat Shaun, and so would Regan. But today, they're not in their best shape. Shaun has brought the whole package today, and technically, Shaun should win. So let's see if they do as I say.
Yeah.
I just don't think Sergio is coming to his own yet. I mean, he's still developing Sergio. The champion. Yeah. So I mean, he's one of my absolute favorite in the ranks coming up right now. And I would if I could see him more shredded and on point, he's big enough. I mean, the dude is huge. So if he could nail that condition down, I think he's just he's gonna need a little more time to figure out his plan, what's gonna work for him, because he hasn't hit it yet.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, Dave. John and I normally do on our show right now. What about Biden, John? Terrible.
He doesn't know where he is.
I heard Biden's judging the
town
show.
meeting.
I heard he's the head judge. That's is that true?
The what?
He's the head judge over at the Legion Sports Fest.
Yeah.
Well, if Shaun
he fell asleep during prejudging, though. But.
Well, if Shaun doesn't win, it'll be a crisis like at the border. So back to the bodybuilding, Dave.
Yeah.
Just chime in any time with political stuff, John. Just throw it in, mix it in.
Yeah, you're on our political clock right now.
Oh, by the way, Halloween's coming up and everything like that. I was out Halloween shopping with the kids. And, my daughter's going to be Captain Marvel, and my son wants to be a werewolf, and the little one hasn't decided yet. So I put on the joke, they had one of these Joker blazers, like Bob Kennedy used to wear that purple jacket. So I put it on and I put a picture on my Instagram, and a lot of people are requesting the Joker mask that I'm wearing here. And I will be making it available at DavePalumbo.com, that Joker mask. So.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to beat the Lee Priest Joker that was on before.
I know. I don't know if you're gonna beat.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I was gonna get the makeup and everything like that. I said, you know what, Lee's just gonna make me look like it's not gonna look good. I just like the jacket. I thought the jacket was good. But
and look, you should keep that jacket on. It looks nice.
I know, it's pretty cool.
What mask is that you got on there?
I told you I'm gonna be selling him that mask. Because a lot of people have been requesting it for their Halloween costumes, and I said I'll make it available.
In what format?
That one. I actually knew that one wasn't. I knew that wasn't you, Dave, because that mask that has hair on it. That's
true. Yeah, I've been using the hair regrowth formula. So
it looks like it's working. Is it working?
I think it is actually.
It might be.
I'm telling you, I've been growing hair back. I see it.
Do you have to rub it on like
the guy who cuts my hair?
If you rub it on
like I think you're growing some hair back.
So you get that cut?
If you rub it on, do you get hairy palms?
That's right. Yeah. My son wanted a he's telling the barber, the girl, that she wants a mohawk, but he really doesn't want a mohawk. I said, and I showed him Mr. T. I said, that's a mohawk. You want like he wants the faux hawk. You know that?
Right.
Which is really a
size. He wants a
faded. Yeah, the faded size.
Right.
But so they cut his hair too short. So he was having like a nervous breakdown. He's 5 years old. He's having a nervous breakdown in the store. And he's screaming at the woman, John, like my father would, because he's exactly like my father. Like acting like she's like inept or something like that. I'm like, I don't even know where the words coming out of his mouth are coming from.
What was he saying?
Yeah.
He's like, she did a horrible job. Loud enough so you can hear him,
No,
what's wrong with her? She can't take instructions,
I wonder where he gets that from, John. He
gets it from my dad, not from me.
He listens to you talk to the cable guys, the internet people.
Course. Yeah.
He just listens.
That's my father.
That's Sal. That's
my father all the way. Yeah.
Yep.
It's interesting, when you see these guys like on a stage that's at the Olympia, like these three guys probably get lost right in the shuffle, and then they come to this show and they're like the highlight of the show, and it really made for a great show. I heard it's real. Chris Minnis puts on a great show anyway. He's a great promoter, and it's funny how the fans will gravitate towards whatever is there. You know what I mean? Like it's just as exciting, even though you don't have the Olympia lineup there.
Well, you can't have them all. I mean, every show, but
Shaun added a level of excitement, John, to the show that no one expected, because he jumped from 212 to open, and that kind of shook things up a little bit.
It did. It definitely did. But I think anytime Sergio competes, though, you always have that mystique of his dad. It's like the ghost.
Of course, I love it. Yeah,
the stage is it's always there. It's undeniable.
I never saw any pictures of Cedric. How was Cedric looking? Was he just off? Or?
I already was off. Yeah, Chris said he was very small looking. So we'll get. I might even have some pictures. Hold on, let me pull them up. How do you think Derek Lunsford would have done in this lineup?
Pretty good. Who's that other 212 guy in it that was just down a bit when they brought 6 out?
He was fourth. I think he's going to take fourth. That guy.
He looks pretty good.
Tonio Burton. He's great.
Yeah.
Chris Aceto was very, 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 very impressed with him, he said. Really? And Chris isn't very impressed with a lot of people, It takes a lot for him to be impressed. Let me see.
Why are you looking for the photo? Say, hey, John, What do you think of the parents finding their son's body? I think when they went out looking, they knew where Brian
I
Laundrie
think
was.
they did too. Yep. I think they dropped him off right there, is what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I knew. When they weren't getting any phone calls back from him, they went there.
Yep. There's Tonio Burton. They'll probably
Dave. Okay, Dave. Back to bodybuilding.
Probably take four. I think this guy Tonio Burton is a better open guy than he is a 212 guy. I'd like to see him put on another 10 pounds.
That's a cool up top ab he's got there. Looks like mini lungs, right where kind of like his lungs would be.
Mini lungs.
It looks like he just put oil on those two. That's why they're highlighted.
It looks cool. I like his physique. He's got a very. I like his structure. His legs are.
When you talk about 212, how would have Flex Lewis done it this year?
Would have won it. He would have won it. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at Cedric here. We want to see Cedric
and Patrick.
Yeah, Cedric looks smooth to me, and his legs look small.
Oh yeah, really smooth.
I think that he's Cedric is a little older now. I think his body is starting to show the signs of aging, and I don't think Cedric was ever a big gear user. So his body just had kind of natural flow to it. Of course, he used gear. We know he used gear, but I don't think he ever used a lot of stuff.
No.
And after a while, Father Time catches up to you. You can't train the way you used to, and muscle disappears.
Thank you, Dave, for shattering my dreams.
You're a freak, though, Lee. So the rules don't apply to you.
I thought it was natural. Now you're telling me he takes gear. You've just shattered my dreams.
You remember Tony Freeman? Towards the end of his career, his legs started coming down in size too, and his legs were always like his best body part.
Right.
I think that's really what.
It's hard to train him heavy anymore when you're old. The real weights freaking feel heavy.
Yeah,
I think you can, but what it is, I went to do squats over that, and I got the 4 plates, and I could have gone a bit heavy, and I said, why am I doing this?
You're doing that naturally too. You're naturally doing that.
But it's like I could go more and do more reps, but I'm like, that's enough. Put it back. I was like, what have I got to prove anymore? When you're young and hungry, you just pump them out. You got that hunger now. It's like, been there, done that.
And especially if it's a move that you're strong in, and it's comfortable for you to do, it doesn't hurt, and you can just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and. You can only do that when you're young.
Patrick Moore actually looks pretty good in this picture here, right?
He does. His legs look great.
Yeah, I don't know what the rap against him was. We'll have to wait for Chris to come on. Maybe let me look from behind. Maybe he wasn't so tight from behind. Yeah, he could have been tighter from behind. I find that these guys later in the season, after the Olympia is over, they have trouble like continuing to diet. I think they start to see the holidays, and they. People just lose the motivation, I think, after the whole year of bodybuilding.
Yeah, because they dieted all this time, and they suffered and sacrificed, and then they have $137 in their checking account, and it's like,
well, if they won a couple shows, maybe they got more than that, John.
After you pay everything, that's nothing really.
Yeah,
I know.
And then take tax out. You're down to minus. You're in the minus.
Minus.
Well, we're gonna.
They're on the OnlyFans, Dave. They don't like them too ripped, so they got to get a bit smoother.
That's true. Or we could just start covering strongman.
You got to be fuller, right? That's the ultimate.
No, it's dry and hard.
Dry. Yeah.
I tell these guys all the time, dry and hard. They don't listen. Dry and hard.
Well, that's how he likes to go in. That's for sure.
I got my thyroid. I got to get my thyroid checked every a couple months to see how my levels are and everything like that. And they test something called thyroglobulin. So if you have a thyroid gland, you produce a certain amount of thyroglobulin. If you don't have a gland, which I don't, and theoretically if you don't have any cancer cells producing any thyroglobulin, then your thyroglobulin should be almost zero, right? So the scale that they use to determine the level of thyroglobulin and how it relates to the cancer is called I thought it was called the Bleckman scale, but it's actually the Beckman scale of.
Could you imagine?
Bleckman got a scale named after him.
Could you imagine if something somewhere in the medical community was named the Bleckman something?
Well,
it's like Ghostbusters. What was the guy in Ghostbusters' name? Wasn't it like Backman or what was it?
Well, it is sort of the medical community. You can get it from sex shops. There's this dildo called the Blackman. It's the closest we're going to get.
Evidently. Yeah.
Ask somebody on the live here. Maybe someone in the live here is watching the show live that they can tell us what they're up to.
Yeah. Anyone watching the live stream, let me know in the comments there where we're at. All right. While we're waiting for the results, to come in, the final results, that is, I want to talk about, obviously, we had 2 losses in the community this past week. We make this like comment, offhanded, and it sounds like ridiculous. And I say like every week we're mentioning another person dying. Now we're up to 2 people a week. It's absolutely crazy. We lost George Butler this past week. He was the one of the guys who did Pumping Iron, the book, and the documentary on Pumping Iron, obviously with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did he do Pumping Iron too, John?
The women?
Yeah.
No, I don't. That was not him.
No, he didn't do that one? Okay. No. I mean, he really popularized Arnold and brought him into the mainstream media. I mean, Arnold was popular in the bodybuilding world, but I don't think mainstream America knew who Arnold was until Butler's film, Pumping Iron.
I interviewed him twice for different articles. And
what was he like?
Let's just say he could have been Kai Green's grandfather.
Oh my God! Very verbose, huh?
Very out there, but very slow. I mean, it's like the words you'd have to like pull them out of his mouth, agonizingly so at some stages. But man, he had him and what was the other guy's name? Charles
Gaines.
Charles Gaines. Yeah, they had done a movie about Vietnam together before, and
that's what they did.
Yeah, it was a good collaboration, and they decided to do this thing on Arnold, and at the time Arnold really was nobody. I mean, he really was in his mind. Of course, he was already everybody, but he really wasn't. And George Butler, he created the vehicle, for Arnold, and Arnold knew it because Butler told me. He said, I remember him in the beginning of the filming, before we started filming, I went to Arnold and I told him, I said, listen, joking, because Arnold's always, joking. He goes, I'm going to need you to pay attention, serious attention now until this is over, and he said, Arnold just professional as hell, snapped into line and was professional and concentrated, was on time, did everything George wanted because he realized it was the opportunity of his lifetime,
Right. And what do you think? What do you think made it click? This thing. It seems such like an offbeat documentary they made. I mean, why do you think it caught on so well?
Because they presented it as art. They had it in a gallery. The opening or the Brooklyn Academy of Music or whatever, yeah. And they treated it like a those affected New York, upper crust,
but would it have been successful today if it had been launched, do you think?
Well, because of the oddity of it. There was no the mainstream did not know what bodybuilding or a bodybuilder was. They had no clue. Right. Arnold is what made bodybuilding a household word, in the modern American lexicon. So George Butler is the guy who brought that to the screen, and the way he presented it to the community, the way he did in New York, and it opened as a sort of an avant-garde expose on the human form, and they had bodybuilders there at the gallery when they were doing the filming. They had guys posing in the streets or in the sidewalk.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He told us that, right?
Or the inside in the gallery as a art expo. I got to go back to my notes, but yeah. So I mean,
what happened, John? You know what happened? I remember they ran out of money and they couldn't finish the film.
Right.
So they rented out the Museum of Modern Art or something like that. One of those,
Brooklyn Academy of Music.
No, I don't.
Or that was the Olympia.
It might have been that, but they sold like tickets and stuff like that, like charity tickets, and they had the bodybuilders like posing on like tables, right, or something like that.
Right.
Like
and they raised a ton of money. Everyone went because they wanted it. It was like the big, posh thing in New York to go hang out at this place and give money and drink wine and stuff like that. That had to be hysterical.
It was like Caligula.
Caligula. How is it like Caligula? That's what I want.
The Romans, Dave. It was about the Romans, and they drank wine, and they all had an orgy. Men, women, they were all just doing each other. You never saw the movie?
I did see it. Actually.
Well, there you go. It's like Caligula.
So Gaines, Butler told me this story about him in the taxi cab with Sybil Shepherd, I think was the actress, and they're leaving the show and they're going to some after party, Elaine's or wherever, and Sybil says to Bob, she says, "Well, that's Arnold's 10 minutes. You'll never be hearing from him again."
Oh, she said that? Oh, my God.
And he said, "Are you kidding? He's going to be governor of California."
He did say that? Wow.
Yeah, this is like in the 70s.
Look where Sybil Shepherd is. She was in that Moonlighting TV show, right? Remember Moonlighting with Bruce Willis?
With Bruce Willis.
And then she did like 1 or 2 movies and disappeared. Arnold's still around. That's a great picture of Arnold and Louis, like with George.
With George.
Louis was very upset. Louis actually texted me that night, right after I put that post up.
Yeah.
He was worried. He thought maybe it was from COVID, and who knows? Everyone's asking me. I constantly get asked, Dave, why do you think people are dying? So many people in our bodybuilding industry are dying. What is it? And you know what the truth is, John? The only common denominator is COVID. And I'm not saying they're dying directly from COVID or the vaccine, obviously. Those are the 2 only new things that have been around the last 2 years. But I think there could be residual, like you get COVID, you get over it, you think you're over it, and then you throw a clot like 6 months later because of that. And, bodybuilders take drugs that thicken their blood. Mm-hmm. Older people obviously have, problems with clotting and may have blockages already in their heart. And, and then before you know it, you're dead. I mean, because why are we losing so many people? It's not consistent with anything, other than that.
I don't know.
John.
What's it? Go ahead, Lee.
I didn't know John and I were on with fucking Fauci today. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm anti-Fauci. I think it's the vaccine.
Okay, Fauci.
He's the anti-Fauci.
I'm the anti-Fauci.
You're anti-Fauci. Well, I think you got to temper this with the fact that this is a gigantic community, and I think the overall consensus is that bodybuilders are just not supposed to die because at all ever.
But John, we haven't lost this many people.
You got
every week.
It is definitely at a high right now. But George Butler was old. There's a variety of factors. They're not all dying of steroid-related heart attacks. I mean,
I don't think any of them are. But necessarily, no one can. We don't seem to be getting any answers as to what's causing. And then why does George Peterson drop dead in the hotel? What about Jen, Hernandez, who's, she was in great shape.
Yeah. Since 57, 50?
I think she was 59, but yeah, she just turned 59. But
hold on.
I heard that she got her vaccine a week ago.
I'll find out for you, Dave. Hello? Yeah. God? Is this you, God? Yeah. Dave wants to know why all the bodybuilders are dropping dead.
If anyone has a hotline, it's not you, please. That's for sure.
Exactly. We're like that.
You got the hotline for the guy down there, not up here.
Just because he threw me out of heaven to run what's down there, we still talk.
They have to confer,
Yeah, we see you has a bigger following still.
I don't think the George Peterson autopsy, someone's asking about the autopsy. I don't think the autopsy has been released yet. A lot of times it can take a long time for all the toxicology to come back.
It will. And will the family even say if it was the vaccine or
well, John, I think in Florida,
if it wasn't. I mean,
isn't Florida? Isn't it available to everyone in Florida? It's like
it's available to everybody everywhere. But the idea that the cause and effect is going to be noted and discussed and reported on, fairly and accurately is pretty slim to none, the chance of that happening.
Yeah.
So, we're never going to know. We're never going to be able to string together the common denominator. All the armchair quarterbacks online think that they, it's the scourge of bodybuilding and that's what's killing everybody because of steroids, diuretics, the lifestyle, whatever. There's plenty of pursuits that claim lives at a high rate. Look at motorcycle racing. Look at ski, the Black Diamond skiing. Look, parachuting. I mean, there's people.
Let's hypothetically though. Let's assume.
Look at overeating.
Overeating,
yeah. How about overeating?
But
actually,
what if it's our life?
Morning.
What if it's the bodybuilding lifestyle that's combined with this COVID situation that's creating some kind of a synergism that's not good? Like in other words, thickening of the blood. COVID makes you, and the vaccine makes you more predisposed to clotting to begin with, and it's like a deadly combination for certain people. Obviously, not everyone's dropping dead, but I'm just saying there is a higher percentage we're seeing than normal.
Thank you.
We just have no data.
Thank you, Debbie Downer. Thanks, Dave. Actually, I had the worst. I didn't dream he died, but I dreamt that he was even sicker. I actually woke up this morning. I always check my phone for messages or to see if Dave wants to do a show. I didn't want to check it because I actually had a thing that Flex was really sick and almost dying. And I didn't want to look at it in case you got the news before me while I was sleeping, thinking you're going to tell me there was something bad. So I didn't look at my phone for a couple of
Flex
hours.
Wheeler has been doing really bad. Yeah, Flex, we have to send out a lot more prayers to Flex Wheeler because I don't want to see anything happen to him, man.
Does he have COVID?
Yeah, he's been in the hospital with COVID, but he's been really sick. I mean, his kidney, he has the kidney transplant. He's in acute kidney failure, and he's on breathing treatments, and he's just things are just not going well for him. But he's in a very good mental place. I'm really happy that he's in a good mental place because your mental state is very important for your recovery.
Absolutely.
He says, "I'm still here, putting up the fight of the century." Seems like that's becoming more and more of the norm over the last 2 decades for me. Lungs are showing more COVID damage. Kidney has taken a beating, and function is declining. I'm exhausted and barely have any energy to even get out of bed to go to the toilet. Everything is such a major chore. I'm weak. I'm exhausted. I'm overwhelmed. But I'm not broken. I have a spirit in me that doesn't allow me to quit. I have a spirit in me that won't allow me to give up. So that's great.
God bless him.
Yeah. He's. I think he's going to beat this. It's tough. The great thing about bodybuilders is that we know how to endure discomfort for long periods of time because we're used to it with contest dieting. So. As long as he's following, the doctor's recommendations and he's, taking care of himself, I think he can.
But I think too, being bodybuilders, you're used to that mental toughness too, where a lot of it is mental. Some people give up mentally, but if you've got that fight or flight and you've really got it in you to keep fighting and you got that mentality to keep fighting, that can always help too. Because some people, when they want to go and they want to go, well, they just go if they give up.
Someone just said Regan Grimes won the shot. I don't know if they're lying because someone else said Shaun won. So.
I'm calling.
Now they're saying Shaun won. I don't know. So Cedric, and I also found it here that Cedric didn't show up to the finals. What's your thought?
Didn't even show up.
Yeah, he probably thought he probably knew he looked terrible. So he
he did not look. He did not look like we've seen him before. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
That's one of the elements of doing this that a lot of observers don't ever get. It's that how delicate that balance is, to be able to pull it together and come in at your best condition, and and you can screw up and you come in off, and and you come in way off. There's too much manipulation, like Lee says all the time. Just go into the show like it's another day. Why do you have to do all this?
All right, special report. We got Chris Aceto live on the scene.
All right.
Who won?
If Shaun didn't win, this is more fucked up than Alec Baldwin on a movie set.
Chris.
Too soon?
Shooting people with fake guns.
Uh-oh. I think
he's against guns too.
We almost had Chris.
Right?
We almost had Chris.
Do you remember, Lee, you must remember this because this was at Gold's Gym. One of the guys he was an actor and he was fucking around.
Andrew Banowski?
He shot himself in the head with the blank, and the blank.
Oh, John Eric Hexum?
Yes, the blank.
What a terrible story that was!
Piece of his skull into his brain and killed him. He was just joking around, like I'm gonna, with the fake gun, and he ended up really killing himself.
I remember John Eric Hexon. My friend Bobby Strom named his son after him, John Eric.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was on that TV show. Remember, it was like a really popular TV show.
Yeah.
Where they traveled through time and stuff like that or something like that.
But yeah, he was just fucking around with the loaded, blank prop gun and didn't realize.
Well, sadly, Brandon Lee.
Yeah,
Brandon Lee went the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Did he?
When I did that movie with the gun, like when I was on set with the guns, you always got to have the armorer there. He won't give you the gun unless it's ready to go. He'll show you the gun's empty. He'll stand there and load it in front of you. Tell the gun's hot now, then he'll pass you the gun. So I know here in Australia, there's so much control, even though it's firing blanks, as you said, the wad can still come out, depending if they're doing half loads or full loads for the sound or whatever they need, that sort of thing. It's like, they treat it, like I said, you got to treat it like a real weapon on the movie set, even though it's a blanks.
Yep. Because blanks can kill.
People do crazy shit all the time. And, that's why when I see these guys, people always say, why don't you go jump out of an airplane? You should do. It's a great feeling. I said, I don't like heights. It's not something that I would find fun because I'm not really into it. And if the chute doesn't open, I'm going to feel like the biggest idiot as I'm falling to the ground that I fucking wasted my whole life on a fucking parachute jump that didn't fucking work out right.
Yeah, the last 3 seconds of your life are going to be lamenting the stupid thing.
Yeah. How stupid am I that I jumped out of the stupid plane? Everything was going great, and then I had to go fucking jump out of an airplane. I really didn't want to jump out of anyway.
I always figured if I'm going to go parachuting, I'm going to wear a Superman suit. So if I do hit the ground, at least I'll
just in case, right?
I'll be dressed appropriately. People have been saying on the comments.
Shaun Clarida won.
They love the It's Not Politics show.
They do.
I'm shocked you guys are still on. I'm surprised you guys haven't been kicked off YouTube yet.
Hey, our show is informing. It's all about what's happening in the world.
And we're going to do it live now from now on so that they won't be able to throw us off.
There you go. So Shaun, Chris Aceto texted me, Shaun Clarida won. So
good.
He is now the official giant killer.
It's in the giant killer books now.
Yep.
He is qualified for the Olympia in the open class now. Lee, should he do the Olympia in the open?
He's got a whole year, so yes, I think because you remember his height. Even if he put on 4 pound of muscle and still has that conditioning, or even 5 pound, that's still a lot of muscle on that frame where he can look a lot thicker and fuller. So I think he could, because that conditioning, he would have been up probably in the top 7 or 8 of the Olympia this year. So I
think he would have.
How tall is he?
He's very short, like 5'2".
I think he's 5'2". Yeah. Ben Aziz's height, I think, roughly. Yeah.
Right.
I will stand corrected because my predictions, I kind of said that I didn't think he was going to be able to win because he was, because he was too small. But you know what? I was wrong. And man, Shaun, I'm sorry. I love Shaun, so I'm very happy for his. Very happy.
I want the title of this show to be Lee was right, Dave was wrong, Shaun wins. But there's sad news now.
It's but I got to give full credit to Lee Priest, because if Lee hadn't said that Shaun Clarida wasn't a true giant killer, Shaun would never have done the show.
Thank you.
So you actually cost Sergio Oliva a lot of money, a title, an Olympia qualification. And
I was talking to Sergio on the post, and when I posted something not long ago, Sergio, because I said Shaun could win, Sergio wrote back to me and goes, "If he wins, I'm retiring." So Sergio is retiring.
And you retired Sergio on top of that all.
No. You can't. We can't retire Sergio.
I said, Sergio, don't retire. I said, look, Ronnie was upset when I beat him. He said the same thing, and he came back and won the Olympia. So just hang in there, Sergio. Hang in there. I'm still gonna wear your shirt.
Sage advice from the master, the true giant killer.
That's right. It's really, you could have justified all these guys, but Lee, you said it best. I mean, Shaun was in the best condition of everyone up there. He's got a great structure. He's got good muscle bellies. He really doesn't have any weaknesses in his physique. His only weakness is that he's the smallest guy up there. I mean, but at the end of the day,
but the smallest guy, like I said, yes, if Sergio was in the same condition as Shaun, Sergio would have beat him. But that's what they forget. Yes, it's a bodybuilding show, granted. It's about all this having size. But you can have all that size, but if you don't have the condition and the symmetry, and someone smaller comes in with the complete package, I'm sorry. I don't care how big you are. Look how many big guys I beat that were just that little bit off. So it does happen. So that's why I said on the day he was the more complete bodybuilder. He had the less flaws. Yes, the other guys were bigger, but then when we start breaking it down and you start saying, well, okay, these are bigger, but what about this? What about that? Shaun had less faults. He pretty much had no faults today when it came to size, conditioning, and symmetry. So I'm glad to see you got the win.
Yeah, I mean, look, and like I said, he wasn't even planning on doing this. And if it wasn't for you, he would never have done the show, and so he kind of owes you a commission, I think, on this paycheck.
But Lee was right, though. That's the whole point. Is Lee was right. You got to be, if you're going to be a giant killer, you got to compete with the giants,
right? But I'm saying Lee got him to do the show, which is great because I don't think he wasn't even thinking about it, But
I don't think it was me. I don't think it was me, but I'll take the credit.
I think it's logical. I mean, if you want to be a giant killer, you gotta kill giants. You can't kill guys who are trying to be giants.
If Shaun had won the Olympia, the 212 Olympia, he probably wouldn't have done the show. So in essence, coming in second was actually probably the best thing that happened to him. So he won a pro show. Now he's qualified for the Olympia in the Open. How many guys have done that aside from David Henry and maybe Silvio? Who else has done that?
That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Dave won his Masters English, and he won the overall Masters on the weekend.
Not Dave. You mean Rusty Jeffers?
No, Dave Henry won his class. I think there must have been different.
Oh, he did. Oh, there was a Masters. There was a Masters. Well, let's talk about Regan Grimes first because Regan looked considerably better. Here.
He got second. He's a loser. Move on.
He looked considerably better here than he did at the Olympia. Why do you think, Lee, that is? You think he was too nervous there? He overdid it.
I don't know. Maybe Milos is figuring him out. Maybe whatever he was doing or whoever was doing his other stuff, maybe Milos got in there and worked it out quicker. And, as I said, like I said, you can see the improvements from the Olympia to now. So maybe with Milos working with him next year, we're going to see a whole different Regan.
Milos probably had him all I'm sure he super carbed him on the insulin and everything like that. And because Regan was so lean, it probably worked really well and filled him out a lot. And he might have been over depleted for the Olympia. A lot of guys sometimes they try to come in too lean, or they try to play catch up at the end, and then they just don't fill out enough. But Regan was definitely full here, and he's got the structure to hold a lot of muscle. People don't realize he's very tall. He's over 6 feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's taller than Sergio.
He's got a lot of muscle for a tall dude.
Yeah.
I'll have to, when I get off here, I'll have to post on Shaun's wall, "Welcome to the club."
Lee, you should make a series of Giant Killer shirts, and if you don't get a Lee Priest Giant Killer shirt, then you're not really a Giant Killer,
Exactly, like a welcome to the club shirt. That's
right. Who's in the club now? You, David Henry,
Shaun, Clarida,
Danny
Padilla, Leela Brada.
Leela Brada, yeah. There's Chris.
Momo.
Chris, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you. Give us the scoop. Why did Shaun Clarida win the show?
I think probably because, his condition, I guess. His condition is really good, balanced condition. I would guess that's the. You can't say size, right?
No.
So we threw what the winning look was, right?
Right. Well, what was your opinion? You were sitting there watching it.
I thought it was tiny. I thought it looked tremendous, but just tiny next to Regan and Sergio.
Yeah. So would you have had those other two above him, or how would you have placed it?
I probably would. It sounds like I probably.
No, you're entitled to your opinion.
I probably would, simply because he looks great by himself, but he just gives up a lot of width, a lot of roundness, a lot of just genuine size.
Right.
It's not like he's a big guy, but you don't have to be a big guy. But to win 212 shows, or to dominate 212s, he's got tons of muscle to do that. But that advantage to me doesn't show up here. That doesn't mean that he didn't great. I was just actually surprised.
Was his conditioning the best
If that makes
conditioning?
sense.
Sitting in that front row, was his conditioning the best conditioning on stage?
I would arguably yes. Reagan had great condition. And I thought that he lost pose. You know what I mean? Significantly, like back lat spread. I mean, his condition was great. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the best on stage. Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say. Yep. It takes. You got to weigh through everyone's condition, and I would say probably the best condition show. Did I look at it on the pay-per-view?
We didn't watch it. To be honest, none of us watched it. We were too busy indulging in our own vices.
We were counting on you, Chris.
Yeah, we were counting on you to give the full.
I was watching Instagram and talking to Cormier. Cormier was giving me.
What did Cormier think, Lee?
He thought they all looked good. He was when I said I think Shaun should win just because Shaun.
What'd you say, Chris?
Just because what?
Lee.
I was just saying, Cormier just telling me because I said, I like Shaun because of his conditioning and that.
What would you have liked to seen Sergio a little tighter, Chris? I know you work with him, but what was your assessment of that? I think we lost him.
We're in and out.
Yeah. All right.
We still haven't climbed up to that level of technology yet, where we can get somebody in a remote location.
I know.
On the moon.
It seems like what Chris said was he did agree that he was the best conditioned, which is what Lee said right from the beginning. It looks like the judges went for the best conditioning because let's face it, everyone had a flaw. Clarida's flaw, he just was the smallest guy up there, but so that's the least flaw of everyone. I mean, Regan was really hard, but his legs, could be a little bigger than, to match his upper body. And, and then of course, Sergio probably was the most complete, but he wasn't tight enough. So,
right.
Well,
I wish Sergio and
Captain Obvious.
Really do.
I wonder why Sergio knew he was going to do this show though. Let's get Chris back here. Chris, why was Sergio not at his best at this show? Chris, can you hear us?
He's got his Blackman glasses on.
I know. Probably hasn't slept all weekend.
Right. Where is he?
He's at the show. I told him to call in for the show. Probably every person there is Instagramming everything.
Where is it?
Where are they, in Reno or something like that? Is that where is the show? I don't even know where the show took place.
Yes,
cold.
Yes. Red Loop is saying Dave is Captain Obvious. Yes, Dave is Captain Obvious. They all had a flaw. Of course they did. What the fuck you think I was standing on?
Ha 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 ha. You're getting very corny in your old age, I got to tell you. You're starting to tell Bob Ciccarilla jokes.
It's like saying all those cars have tires.
Hey, if he gets retired, if Bob retires, they could be calling for the new MC job.
Believe me, you're very low on the totem pole, below me even. So
you think?
Below John too? Yeah, I think so.
Jesus, you're so negative, and I don't know why you're my friend. You're never positive. I don't know why I come on here.
Look,
I come on here to get abuse.
In defense of Chris's shitty internet, he is at the show, and you know what's happening, John. Every person in the audience is sending this, putting the same picture on their Instagram of Shaun Clarida's hands up in the air like this. Holding his hands up, thinking that anyone gives a shit about what they put on their Instagram. I mean, within reality, there's 3 Instagrams probably that anyone really gives half a rat's ass about, So
and they're using up all the bandwidth.
They're using all the bandwidth up.
Right. We can't get Chris on the air.
Right? That's right.
when we did have Chris, and we could hear him, why did he stop walking? He could have just.
I know. I don't know why. He was trying to
stand still.
Men are terrible multitaskers. You know that. Women can do that kind of stuff. Guys can't do 2 things at the same time. It's impossible. So.
John, I want you to know there's a petition going online here. Remove the beanie. Hashtag remove the beanie. John.
Oh, no way.
The beanie,
Never
John.
happened.
Hashtag.
Not gonna happen.
Valentino remove the glasses. It's not happening. Yeah.
Well, Greg's got an well, I guess you got an excuse too. You have no hair, but Greg's got the excuse because he only got the one eye, So
But my head is always cold. Now, where does my fucking head is cold? That's what's I mean, I don't. You know what you do when you get old is you look for reasons not to suffer. You know, so you.
Well, my fault. Wait, when you start wearing winter gloves on your hands, then you're in my father's territory. Because he had the arthritis, and his father used to wear the gloves too, and he said the arthritis helped the gloves. So my father just out of sheer, necessity, started wearing gloves too on his hands. I don't know why, but I hope if I start wearing gloves, John, put me away. Put me in a fucking old age home, please.
I bet if you go to Instagram on buys and tries, they're normally putting up photos straight away of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you see, when I look at Sergio here, I he looks really good from the front. Maybe from the back, he could have been tighter.
Yeah. Pay no attention to what I said, Dave. Just carry on.
No, I'm not. I'm segueing to my next comment. Because people here want to actually get an analysis of the show. They don't want to know about our personal lives.
Hey, John, what about Kamala?
Yes. What about Kamala? Conspicuously
where is she?
I don't know. Maybe she's in space looking at the moon and its craters with her own eyes.
Flat Earth.
That's right. If you see the moon through the craters, you'll be able to see it through the telescope.
With your own eyes. I'm telling you, it's going to be incredible.
The number one.
What do you think we'll find first? Kamala Harris or some styrations on these Mr. Oka peddlers?
Lee, I don't know if I told you, but that TV show we did the other day with Jimmy the Bull, the Flat Earth debate.
I watched it. Yes, I watched it.
I know. Well, the number one flat earther, who's got the number one station on Flat Earth, on YouTube, David Weiss,
is coming on.
He might. Well, I don't know if he's coming on. He reached out to me. He wants to come on. So,
well, what I want to know is this is where we can solve it. I said to Jimmy, these SpaceX people to other people, it's like obviously if Shatner can go up, anyone can go up.
Yeah.
So why don't they get the number one flat earther and give him a free ride? Send him up. That way, end of argument. So let's take you up. You can see the Earth is round. It's not a photograph or it's not this. Just take up the number one flat earther. You're sending up Shatner. You're sending up some school teacher from thing. You're sending up whoever. Just end the argument. Put the number one flat earther on there.
NASA has their own YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen it. I've subscribed to it, and so they had a video up today. They've actually they're trying to test whether they could actually influence an asteroid that would be coming towards the Earth and actually change its trajectory.
Right.
So they actually have this it looks like a missile or a rocket.
Did they talk to it, like try and influence it?
No, so they're doing a test. So they got this. They know that there's one asteroid. It's a small asteroid out there in space, and they're going to shoot this rocket at it, and they're going to see if they can deflect it, even like the smallest half a degree or something like that, by hitting it with this thing. And they got. I mean, if Jimmy was right, and we really were flat earthers, we never left the Earth's atmosphere, this would have to be the biggest mental masturbation, project of all time. Like, what are people doing this shit for if nothing's going into space? I mean, it's the stupidest thing of all time. This flat Earth.
Have you seen those? I watched the documentary. Have you seen If Space Is Real? I have to ask Jimmy, but have you seen how much space junk is out there? Like the amount of space.
They track it too, Lee. They track it. They got to track it. They have some more. They got some idiot who is like a librarian watching all this stuff in space where it is.
Of course they do. They track poo here. They can tell you there's COVID in your poo from the sewage outlet.
All right, let's get back to the show analysis because most of the people here want to actually analysis. Let's talk Sergio. What do you see wrong with Sergio in this picture? Unless the picture is deceptive, because he looks great to me here.
His beard's not balanced.
Good to me. I mean, what do you want to pick them apart? I mean,
why doesn't Sergio win the show? I don't know.
Could you?
I think it's just conditioning.
I'll pull up a back picture too. Let's go do the back picture.
Like he's hard, he's got the separation, but I think when you're standing near Clarida, you're going to have that.
That's what it is. Clarida's making it good. Yeah,
you got. Like Clarida has it, Hardy has it. You got to get when you're standing near someone like that, you're going to be on.
Yeah. What you're saying is that he's in shape, but he's not in like grainy, gnarly shape.
Yeah, like that's not bad shape. Yeah. No, he's in great shape. But like you said, if you're near, or like I said, if you're near someone gnarly, even as good as Sergio looks, you're going to look smooth when you're near someone as gnarly as Clarida or Hardy or someone.
Yeah, he's not. He's just not busting out of his skin. You know, he's just he's almost.
He's not turned his head.
His hand, and well, he's not turning his head. That ruins it right there. But I mean, from his middle of his back down to like his knees, he's got like a film of water.
I think he's just not
over dieted,
shrink wrap diet. You know, dry, hard.
That's he's not crisp, is what I guess the word I'm looking for.
I think the worry when these guys is they're going to be too small on stage, right?
Tony Freeman syndrome.
Yeah.
He's
got to suffer more. That's all, I guess. You know, that's
he's got to come into his own. He's got to figure this out. He's almost
not 20. He's not 25 years old anymore, John.
I mean, you know, look, how many times have we seen Victor Martinez like on the money, 100%, exactly perfect? Once, okay. So, and how long has he been trying to hit that again? So it's a tough thing to do, man.
Yeah. Look, you know, you're right. I mean, it's not everyone can do it.
I said you got to ask Aceto, is he retiring? Because he said he would retire if Shaun won.
That's true.
Well, we got to find out.
Well, I'm sure we'll get him on the show.
Maybe he's going to take your advice. He's going to go and take your advice, Dave, and go into manufacturing clothing.
He'd probably be very successful. He's a great
day job.
He's a great artist.
Yeah,
he's a really good artist.
Oh, thank you. Someone finally noticed my Zoom name. Thank you. I put a lot of work into that. My pronouns.
They,
them, it, us, we, chitty, bang, bang. There you go. you got to, you know what? You got to be a little older to don't even know what chitty, bang, bang is.
Yeah, you do. You got to know who Dick Van Dyke is.
Yeah. And you know that the longest word, I don't know, it might not be the longest word anymore.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
That's right. Yeah.
If you say it loud enough, you'll sound atrocious.
No, you'll sound precocious.
Yeah, that's it. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Humdy-lily. Oh, let's just go through show tunes.
Yeah, let's just go.
We'll sing show tunes, right? Right. Was that like on Airplane, that movie? Let's sing show tunes.
The chimney sweep. Chimney.
No, you remember when the plane was going down and he's like, what are we going to do? And he's like, let's sing show tunes. You remember like gay guy
and then they said everyone get in crash positions and everyone's laying like they already crashed.
that movie is so good. It holds up. I watched it like about a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's from the 70s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it holds up. Funny. It was still very funny.
What about when that woman was going hysterical? Everyone's lined up to slap her and beat her.
Oh, they're slapping the shit out of her. Yeah.
Baseball bat. We got a baseball bat.
Yeah, nowadays
the old lady was translating. The old lady was translating for the. Remember the two black gangster type on the plane? It's just translating.
You couldn't. Remember the guys who talk jive? You never could do that today, right?
No.
But I speak jive.
They said.
Do you speak? Anyone here speak jive?
Yeah, the old lady got me.
The whitest woman on earth.
But it was just stupid. Like, remember like the scenes where they're like, quick, he's very sick. We've got to get him to a hospital. What is it? Oh, it's a big building with lots of windows and patients. But that's not important right now. It's just like stupid shit like that. It was just funny.
There it was.
There it is. I remember when the autopilot was deflating and she had to blow him up. And he's smiling. But even the beginning it was the funny scene. Do you remember when the planes are coming in, he's doing all this and someone goes, Charlie, where's the forklift? He's like, it's over there, it's over there.
The plane crashes through the window. Yeah.
Over there it was called Airplane. That movie here was called Flying High.
There you go. I didn't know that. There was a different title in Australia.
They do that in Mexico too.
That's a good trivial fact that probably a lot of people don't know. All right, let's get back to Shaun Clarida for a minute because I have an interesting.
Okay.
This is a serious topic, and I think it probably deserves its own iron debate. Shaun Clarida now, is the Olympia champ at 212, from last year. Mm-hmm. So he's qualified for life for the Olympia. He just won an open show now, so now he's qualified for the Open. Why can't he compete in both events at next year's Olympia? I know it's the rule, but why is there a rule that this guy cannot do both? He qualified. He actually did everything they asked to qualify for both of these events. Very few people in the history of the sport have ever done that. Why can't he be allowed to compete in both?
I don't know. Does he want to? I'd be thinking Shaun.
Of course he wants to. Would you want to?
Of course.
Yeah, but I'm thinking Shaun's won the 212, but now if he puts on that little bit more size and goes to the Open, even 6 in the Open's a lot more money than winning the 212.
Lee, he could gain 20 pounds. He'll still be in the 212 division. He doesn't have to worry about making weight. Why can't he do both?
How much does he weigh?
He's like 182.
Are you kidding?
No,
he's 5'2".
Oh my God.
I think someone said 174.
He might even be. I thought he was 180. But you know what? So he could legitimately not have any problem doing both. He wouldn't have to, his conditioning, his size wouldn't have to suffer. Why can't this guy do both divisions? They got to make a rule change. There's absolutely no reason why he should have to pick one or the other.
Because you can't have the same guy winning both shows.
Why not?
Because
if you qualify for both, why can't you win both?
Yeah.
Why do M&M's
we want to have a winner. We want to give everyone else a chance.
Not on the inside and not the outside.
He's not going to win the Open.
It's supposed to be that way.
He's not going to win the Open, but why can't he? Maybe he'll place top 6 in the Open and win the 212.
Because it'll upset everybody.
No, it won't. I say I'm making putting it out there now. I know Bob Chickarelli, if you want to take credit for making it happen, that's fine. But why can't Shaun Clarida do both? He's qualified for both now. He should be given the option. Shaun, if you want to do both, do both. If you don't want, if you want to pick one, pick one. But he should have the option of being able to do both.
Isn't Chick the athlete's rep still?
No, I don't. There hasn't been an athlete's rep in 20 years.
Why can't the Special Olympics compete in the Open Olympics?
Well, wait a minute.
Well, if you qualify, you can, Lee. If you qualify, you can.
Where's the athlete's rep?
There is no athlete's rep.
There has to be an athlete.
Bob says
if there wasn't an athlete rep issue ever in the history of the world, this is it.
Yeah.
So, where's the athlete's rep?
Bob still says he is, but did you watch those? I like watching the Special Olympics because I give those people more props than the able bodies. I don't want to say able bodies, even the special ones are still able. But
I agree.
I don't know how they do it because I was watching the guys swimming and this guy was swimming. He had one leg and another half a leg and one arm, and he's going dead straight. It's like if I paddle out one side of the canoe. If I paddle out one side of the canoe, I go in circles. So how the hell you can have one arm and go straight? I would have jumped in at the start line and would have gone, bang, hit my head. Fuck, I'm back at the start line again.
It's probably the weight. It's probably the weight bias, Lee. He's lighter on one side.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
but Lee, you're a guy who this could have affected. Had you been competing in this day and age, at your height of your career, you would have easily been able to do both, and you probably could have qualified for both. Wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't you want to have that option?
Yes, if you're qualified, you should have the option. Yes, because that way you get 2 paydays, and you can maybe win the 212 and then do well in the Open and get another good check.
Look
at Flex should have been able to do. Flex Lewis should have been able to do both.
This is clearly an athlete rep issue.
The difference is that Flex Lewis didn't qualify to do the Open, so
that's a big issue.
No, but he could have easily. But no, the thing Bob still says he is, but Bob's always been out for Bob. Bob, being an athlete, is only out for himself. He always has been. He doesn't care about the athletes.
We should get Rick Collins involved and have him have a legal opinion.
It's not even a legal thing. All we have to do is put it out there and let the powers that be, the Manions and Weinberger and all those guys sit down and say, you know what? This guy earned it. Let's give it to him. It's not like there's going to be a million people doing both divisions.
Before you have an aneurysm for no reason, what's the actual rule?
The rule is you got to pick one.
The rule says you got to pick one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's a rule book. That's been their rule that you had to pick one. I don't understand why. Now, I can understand maybe in the regular season, we don't want everyone crossing over and doing 14 different divisions. But if at the Olympia you have qualified to do both divisions because you won Open show and 212 show, or you want a classic in 212 or whatever, however you figure it out. you should be able to do it. It's not, and like I said, you're going to have one person every 10 years who's going to be able to do that.
If you're qualified, you should go.
You should be able to do both.
Let me ask you this, Dave. Since I can't MC the Mr. Olympia,
right?
Can I be the athlete's rep?
Yes.
I think you can. Yes. You know what? You would probably be elected. You probably would be elected.
You would be elected
because you would open your mouth and tell it like it is.
And you wouldn't be working, and you wouldn't be working for the enemy.
I'd be like Jimmy Hoffa, and then I'd get buried in cement.
The good thing, John, is if he didn't compete, then it really wouldn't. There would be nothing that anyone could do to him.
Right. So he's not competing, and there's nothing they can do to him.
All these letters would get sent out to everybody else. Due to your athlete's rep, you're all suspended.
No, you would be the bad guy. You're like the union leader. You'd be the bad guy.
Yeah,
so no one else would have to worry.
No, they would just suspend everybody else because of Lee.
No, I'm saying
you can't suspend everyone, John. You don't have a show. No, but I'm just saying. I agree with 99% of what they do.
My people aren't walking on stage. If these demands aren't met, my people are not walking on stage today.
Lee wants, fresh fruit in the dressing room, and he wants, how these stars have these weird things.
Back in my day,
he wants Don Perignon champagne for the winners.
He wants all the brown M&Ms that Mick Jagger had taken out of the regular M&Ms.
I got in trouble at a show complaining there was no water once. There's no bottled water backstage. Oh, fucking hell. That's what I said. How about water?
No. Someone's asking me if Shaun could do the classic division. He would never make the weight because for his height, he'd have to weigh like 140 probably. Yeah, he can't do
Shaun's fucked. He can't do anything but the Olympia.
No, he could do the open and he could do the 212 because he can make both.
Well, they have a rule, apparently. I want to see the rule. I want someone to read me the rule.
Yeah, I'd like to see that rule too.
I want to see it. I want to see that there's a book called Rule Book, and it's a rule, and it's written in the book that says Rule Book. So
I'm an expert on this book.
Yeah. First of all,
because what happened was
Shaun did do the open, it would be so exciting, right, to see him in the open and the 212, especially if he won the 212 Olympia and then went in the open in addition to that. And you know what? That would be crazy exciting because now you got the you got the 212 guy who's the Olympia champ in the open lineup.
I want to see the rule.
Well, this rule book, I actually found the rule book and I went through it. And remember, I had a year suspension. Yeah. Well, I went back at him with the rule book and I started pointing out these rules from the rule book. And I was pointing out how all these other rules were being broken and nothing's being done. And you know what they said to me, John?
No.
2 years suspension.
It's not even a matter of there's no reason to debate the rules. It's just if it is a rule, it should be changed because it's a matter of just logic. If you qualify for both,
you got to remember who we're dealing with here. What you have to define.
But John, there's no negative. There's no negative aspect of being able to do both.
Yeah, but apparently there is because there's a rule. So
the reason that I really believe the rule is there because they don't want people doing 4 divisions in every pro show because then it's going to make it take too long.
But that's completely different. This dude is qualified.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it should be an exception to the rule. Yeah.
But so how can it not be an exception if he's qualified?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe we can get someone on to
that's why I'm saying I want to see the rule. I want to see the rule. I want to see it. I want to see the rule, the actual verbiage that's
Lee, you have the book. Ask Lee. He's got a copy of the handbook, the IFBB handbook.
That rule was never in there, but I'm sure they're gonna write
that one in there.
We've mentioned it.
It's an implied. It's one of those rules. It's implied. So everybody.
You have to remember too. There's the IFBB, right? And we had the athletes rep, he still says he is. And you have to remember, everyone is a member of the IFBB. You pay, $300-400 a year now for your pro card. So as a member, why do none of these members have a say in anything that goes on within the IFBB?
Look, I think 99% of what they're doing is great. I think that there's a couple little, hiccups along the way. And that's why we bring these things up so that people can debate them. If people start talking about it and demanding that Shaun be able to do both, the rule will change because it's not like a big deal. It's like I said, there's not 20 people that are going to cross over and do both.
What I'm saying is maybe we're all got our panties in a wad for no reason, that this does not exist. if he's qualified, he can do it.
Because it came up a couple of years ago, and I can't remember who was with regard to, but they said you had to pick one.
I want to see the rule.
All right. Well,
the actual rule that prevents him that he's qualified for the Olympia, that he's got to choose one or the other.
Yeah. All right. We'll work on that.
I guarantee you it doesn't exist. Is what
we'll find it out. I'll text Weinberg or something like that, Steve, and see what he says.
But I'm not busting their balls. I just think the guy should do both. I mean, if
he deserves it.
He wants to, and he's qualified.
He earned it.
And like you said, every 20 years this is going to happen once. Yeah. You know,
exactly. It's only one extra competitor to the lineup. How's that gonna?
Right. The only other person who would probably do it by next year might be Lee Priest, but you got to get him on stage first.
Dave, since we mentioned that last show, I'm already getting Lee's like Ty Green. He's never coming back.
Lee, now you're the athletes rep. You're not allowed to compete anymore.
Right. Yeah, I can't compete.
We relegated you to the athletes rep. All right, we got to wrap this up.
It's very late here in New York. Guns now.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year he's coming.
I always ask him this. I want to see the right arm though. I'm not interested in the left.
It's just as good. Look, it's just as good.
It is. It looks pretty
coming
good.
Back.
Yeah,
I can't tell which way I got to go.
Wow.
Isn't it crazy, John, how big those arms are?
It's not.
Are you still natural? Or are you doing gear now?
Let's do that. Look at this. Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah. That's just
who's the giant killer? Who's the giant killer?
He's myostatin negative, I think.
You know what everyone in the comments is saying. They're probably like, "Oh, he's shooting the synthol and the Laudol and
motor oil." Had Steve DeLuca on last week. He must have sent Lee a case.
50, almost 50 years old. I still got it.
Congratulations to Shaun Clarida on the huge win in the open class. He is now the giant killer, and I want to send our condolences out.
Put that in the title. Lee was right. Lee was right in this title. Dave was wrong again.
You were not right. You said he's not a giant. You're the one who said he wasn't a giant killer because he never did an open show.
I said he is now, and I said he's going to win based on what I saw. He's going to win. You said no, he's not going to win. He's not big enough to win. You said it after the show took place. You didn't say it before the show took place.
And I know this to be true because I agreed with him.
The last show, I said he was still going to win. You go back and have a look. I said if he comes,
I don't believe it. I don't remember.
It was this show. It was the beginning of this show when I first came on.
He didn't say it last week, John. He never said it.
I did. It was on this show.
You did not predict that he was going to win.
I did. I said if those
other guys
slip, you're
lying. Find the clip. I don't believe it.
Hey, John, our political show, we've actually got fucking Biden on. Look at this. Unbelievable. Biden live.
Hey,
Dave, sit
there. John was the one who almost fell asleep.
This.
I didn't fall asleep during the show, at least.
When?
Sit there like this, Dave.
Someone said you were dozing a little bit. I don't know. I didn't
yawn. I'm allowed to yawn.
All right. Well, anyway, I want to send
John's relaxed. John's relaxed.
I want to send our love and condolences out to the family of George Butler and, of course, to Jen Hernandez because we lost two great people in our industry, and we got to remember them. But for now, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.
And Dave's full of shit.
You were wrong, Lee. You were wrong. You were wrong.
You were wrong.